Democratic Congresswoman from Texas, Jasmine Crockett. She is the vice-ranking member on the House Oversight Committee and now a newly minted member of the DOJ subcommittee. Welcome, my friend. It's good to see you. Let's get to what you'll be doing serving on this committee. It's led by Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene to provide oversight to DOJ's efforts. Do you know why they went after access to the federal government's payment system?
I have no idea, but I don't have any positive thoughts when it comes down to it. I appreciate that you played the clip of Jamie Raskin, and as you know, Congressman Raskin asked, why do you need access? I mean, here it is. I'm a wholly, fully elected member of Congress. I don't have that kind of access. So when you start talking about who should have access to literally the system that controls approximately $6 trillion of our dollars, I don't really understand, because the people that worked in those positions could only distribute money per the law. So why is it that the DOJ committee would have to have access? And that's not the place that you go to look for cuts. You look at our budget, which it is Congress that has the power of the purse. You look at our budget, you help the president come up with his proposed budget, and then the House and the Senate will decide what we send to his desk, and he gets to decide whether or not he signs it into law. He should not have access to this. And with people already having angst about Elon Musk and the things that he does as it relates to technology, this is not instilling anything more than another layer of fear, especially since normally when you are going to be in a position like that, you have to go through security clearances. And let me tell you, some people think security clearances are all about whether or not you have a warrant or not. No, they look at whether or not you have some sort of divided interest. They look at whether or not you have good credit. They look at so many other things. And we're talking about someone who's unelected, unvetted, and definitely unconfirmed that is now literally sitting atop our $6 trillion. And we don't know what it is that he's doing. And we honestly don't know what role he has.
Look, you have well articulated some of the bad thoughts as you described them at the top here. The question is, does Musk's team now have the power to actually disrupt federal payments?
In my opinion, they do, but I honestly don't know. We still don't know really what DOJ is in the first place. I mean, listen, think about it like this, Alex. You know, everyone hates Congress. That's just what it is, right? But as a sitting member of Congress, I mean, I had to give up my ability to practice law. I am prevented from being able to practice law to prevent potentially somebody dropping a load of cash on me and I do something that is nefarious as one of 435. And now we're talking about a guy who literally gets government contracts from the United States and has not had to divest, has not had to, I mean, it is really awful. And I know right now people are asking whether or not their IRS refund checks are going to be affected. We don't know if this is more DEI. Are you going to say if it's somebody that's a person of color, then for some reason, whatever they paid in to the federal government, they're not allowed to get it back? Like, we don't know, but there is no reason for any political appointee, if you can even call him that, to have this kind of access. There's none.
Let me move to the fact that you are also a member of the Judiciary Committee, and since Donald Trump took office, multiple top FBI officials and federal prosecutors who all worked on January 6 cases, they're out of a job. And now the DOJ wants names of those who worked on the Trump or January 6 investigations for possible firing. What do you make of this apparent cleansing?
Representative Jasmine Crockett has raised concerns about accountability, transparency, and economic stability in relation to Elon Musk's possible access to federal monies. She cautions that giving such power to someone who hasn't been chosen or investigated could result in favoritism and financial abuse. Musk has benefited from government contracts, but he has not been subject to the same kind of scrutiny as federal fund managers who must pass rigorous security clearances. In addition, Crockett expresses worries about possible discrimination in financial procedures and the interruption of federal payments, which may have an impact on public funds and tax refunds. Since this system concentrates financial power in private hands without adequate public accountability, she ultimately sees it as a threat to democracy.
I mean, you just called it what it is. It's a cleansing. I mean, listen, when Democrats got out there and we said that our democracy was really at risk. People were like, oh, Democrats, you're out there, you're gaslighting. It's not our democracy. Well, he didn't say he'd be a dictator on day one. Oh, Democrats, it's just Trump. He just talks. Well, let me tell you something. He is doing more than talking. We talked about Project 2025. We talked about the consolidation of power. We talked about how he wanted to be a king. We talked about in a democratic republic, that is not what it is. We have some sort of checks and balances, and he is doing everything that he can to get rid of those checks and balances. The DOJ and the people that he's going after were simply doing their jobs. The problem is that Americans thought that it was okay to take a full-fledged criminal and make him the president of the United States, and then they want to act aghast when he does criminal things. Let me tell you, we have a thug in charge of the United States. And if we don't wake up, we may not have a United States, because right now he has only been successful in being a divider in chief.
Can you tell me what you're hearing about him from Republicans, from colleagues that will speak to you off the record? Do they have concerns about him? No names, but are you hearing concerns?
I do hear concerns, and let me make sure that I get this timeline together for the American people. Number one, he was sworn in on January 20th. That was on a Monday. We were supposed to be in session from Tuesday to Friday of that week. They canceled our Friday votes, so we have only been in session Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of the week that he was sworn in. No other days. They decided to take advantage of the fact that Congress was not in and started to unravel and break as many things in our democracy as they could without us being here. But I can tell you that even when we went through the CR vote, there were Republicans that silently or in the background were cheering us on and saying this is wrong. Like, they knew we had negotiated, and all of a sudden this guy who's not elected makes a tweet on Twitter. And so, no, can I tell you that Republicans want to see Elon go down? I can. Now, will they come out publicly and say that? No, because they're concerned about whether or not he'll spend money in their next elections. But there are some. But I need them to understand that this is their time to rise up and do what is right. This is the
Concerned about Elon Musk's possible access to public finances, Representative Jasmine Crockett highlights how his unbridled power and authoritarian inclinations could endanger democracy and national cohesion. She contends that his dominance over financial systems might lead to a risky concentration of power, compromising democratic protections, and possibly permitting discrimination or favoritism in government dealings. Additionally, Crockett highlights how Republicans have been reluctant to criticize Musk due to his financial engagement in elections, which raises concerns about a lack of political responsibility. Leaders' fear of financial retaliation may erode democratic institutions by influencing decisions to serve their own interests rather than the general welfare. Finally, Crockett issues a warning that Musk's growing influence over public finances may set a worrying precedent in which political decisions are determined by economic might, further undermining democratic governance.
Honor the oath that we all took. Listen, today I had to enter into agreement with Rand Paul, something that I never saw on my bingo card. But this is a guy who made it clear. This stupid tariff war is just that. It is dumb. And I have to agree, even when it's somebody like Rand Paul, I have to agree that he is absolutely correct.
Just specifically, what is Rand Paul saying that you said, yeah, I'm backing you up on this?
On the tariffs, he said that deciding to put these tariffs on Mexico as well as Canada, I don't think we'll ever scream too loudly about tariffs on China, but that's a whole other issue. But he was saying that it is going to take the cost of things up and that we should just call it what it is. This is a tax. It is a tax on Americans. And his attitude about it was, allegedly, the Republicans don't like to do taxes, so why are we raising taxes on the American people? But that's exactly what it is. It's a tax on us. We are the ones that are going to pay.
Can I just ask you, didn't you hear Donald Trump say many times during the campaign he was going to lower prices for the American people? Won't this have the opposite effect?
Now, I tried to ignore a lot of the things that he said, but yes, he did say that. He did tell that lie. And we know we've got historic prices right now on eggs. For everybody that said they voted because of the price of eggs, they have only gone up. And just saying that you're going to lower something with only offering concepts of a plan was really the giveaway that he did not have a plan to help you lower the cost of food. Instead, as we are seeing these raids that are taking place, we know that we've heard from farmers that people aren't showing up to work. And the reality is that every single city that I've campaigned in, I would ask people, tell me how many of you plan on going into farming or sending your kids into farming. So you explain to me how that food is going to make it to the grocery store if there's no one that is actually willing to go out and work the fields. And now let's talk about the foods that we get out of Mexico, whether it's our avocados, whether it's our strawberries, the things that we import. Let's talk about what that's going to look like when Mexico says, oh, okay, well, they put a tariff on it. All that's being passed on to us. And then when it comes to people, especially in my state of Texas, where we are one of the largest traders in the world, not just the United States, but in the world, Texas is our own economy. And now our biggest trade partner, Mexico, is saying, you know what, we're going to slap these tariffs on. What does that mean? Those businesses that are doing trade are now going to be hit because people in Mexico may not be buying those items because now they are going to be too expensive.
It's always sobering to talk with you, I have to say, but you also managed to bring a smile to my face with your energy and personality, so thanks. Thanks for that as well. Representative Jasmine Crockett, we'll see you again.
Representative Jasmine Crockett expresses worries that tariffs placed on Canada and Mexico may have unforeseen repercussions, driving up expenses rather than bringing down prices for American customers. She challenges Elon Musk's claims that food costs will drop, pointing out that there is no clear plan in place while import taxes rise, endangering the stability of the food supply and the Texas economy. Businesses may incur greater costs in response to Mexico's own tariffs, which could result in more expensive goods and lower consumer purchasing power. Higher prices on imported agricultural products like avocados and strawberries might put a hardship on local individuals and businesses, making Texas a major trading hub especially vulnerable. According to Crockett, these measures essentially put an indirect tax on Americans, which could impede economic expansion and exacerbate inflationary pressures. Leave a comment below with your ideas, and remember to subscribe for more interesting stuff.